An ox, also known as a bullock in Australia and India, is a bovine trained as a draft animal. Oxen are commonly castrated adult male cattle. Castration makes the animals easier to control. Cows or bulls may also be used in some areas. Oxen are used for plowing, for transport, for threshing grain by trampling, and for powering machines that grind grain or supply irrigation, among other purposes. Oxen may be also used to skid logs in forests, particularly in low-impact, select-cut logging. Oxen are usually yoked in pairs. Light work such as carting household items on good roads might require just one pair, while for heavier work, further pairs would be added as necessary. A team used for a heavy load over difficult ground might exceed 9 or 10 pairs. Domestication. Oxen are thought to have first been harnessed and put to work around 4000 BC. Training. Working oxen are taught to respond to the signals of the teamster, bullocky or ox driver. These signals are given by verbal command and body language, reinforced by a goad, whip or a long pole. In pre-industrial times, most teamsters were known for their loud voices and forthright language. Verbal commands for draft animals vary widely throughout the world. In North America, the most common commands are back, back up, G, turn to the right, get up, go, haw, turn to the left, whoa, stop. In the New England tradition, young castrated cattle selected for draft are known as working steers and are painstakingly trained from a young age. Their teamster makes or buys as many as a dozen yokes of different sizes for each animal as it grows. The steers are normally considered fully trained at the age of 4 and only then become known as oxen. A tradition in southeastern England was to use oxen as dual-purpose animals for draft and beef. A ploughing team of 8 oxen normally consisted of 4 pairs aged a year apart. Each year, a pair of steers of about 3 years of age would be bought for the team and trained with the older animals. The pair would be kept for about 4 years, then sold at about 7 years old to be fattened for beef, thus covering much of the cost of buying that year's new pair. Use of oxen for ploughing survived in some areas of England until the early 20th century. Pairs of oxen were always hitched the same way round, and they were often given paired names. In southern England it was traditional to call the near side ox of a pair by a single syllable name and the off-side one by a longer one. Ox trainers favor larger animals for their ability to do more work. Oxen are therefore usually of larger breeds, and are usually males because they are generally larger. Females can also be trained as oxen, but as well as being smaller, they are often more valued for producing calves and milk. Bulls are also used in many parts of the world, especially Asia and Africa. Shoeing. Working oxen usually require shoes, although in England not all working oxen were shod. Since their hooves are cloven, 2 shoes or ox cues are required for each hoof, unlike the single shoe of a horse. Ox shoes are usually of approximately half-moon or banana shape, either with or without corkins, and are fitted in symmetrical pairs to the hooves. Unlike horses, oxen are not easily able to balance on 3 legs, while a farrier shoes the 4th. In England, shoeing was accomplished by throwing the ox to the ground and lashing all 4 feet to a heavy wooden tripod until the shoeing was complete. A similar technique was used in Serbia and, in a simpler form, in India, where it is still practiced. In Italy, where oxen may be very large, shoeing is accomplished using a massive framework of beams in which the animal can be partly or completely lifted from the ground by slings passed under the body. The feet are then lashed to lateral beams or held with a rope while the shoes are fitted. Such devices were made of wood in the past, but may today be of metal. Similar devices are found in France, Austria, Germany, Spain, Canada and the United States, where they may be called ox slings, ox presses or shoeing stools. The system was sometimes adopted in England also, where the device was called a crush or trevice. One example is recorded in the Vale of Pusey. The shoeing of an ox partly lifted in a sling is the subject of John Singer Sargent's painting Shoeing the Ox. Uses and comparison to other draft animals. Oxen can pull heavier loads, and pull for a longer period of time than horses depending on weather conditions. On the other hand, they are also slower than horses, which has both advantages and disadvantages. Their pulling style is steadier, but they cannot cover as much ground in a given period of time. For agricultural purposes, oxen are more suitable for heavy tasks such as breaking sod or plowing in wet, heavy, or clay-filled soil. When hauling freight, oxen can move very heavy loads in a slow and steady fashion. They are at a disadvantage compared to horses when it is necessary to pull a plow or load of freight relatively quickly. For millennia, oxen also could pull heavier loads because of the use of the yoke, which was designed to work best with the neck and shoulder anatomy of cattle, until the invention of the horse collar, which allowed the horse to engage the pushing power of its hindquarters in moving a load. Horses could not pull with their full strength because the yoke was incompatible with their anatomy. Well-trained oxen are also considered less excitable than horses.